Hello, Pelumi.
Hello.
Welcome to Nigeria. Welcome to Lagos.
Thank you.
Welcome to Upper Room Baptist Church.
It's a pleasure.
All right, my name is Kenneth Njoku, and I will be anchoring this session. It's an interview session with
Myself, Pelumi. Pelumi Nubi.
So let's have a bit of introduction of you, then
Okay.
we'll go into the interview proper.
So my name is Pelumi. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, and I grew up in the UK. Have a background in science, research, all of that good stuff. I, however, found my calling pushed towards more of traveling, exploring the world, showcasing the world, and I've been doing that for many years now. I really want to show people that traveling can be easy, safe, and doable, especially as a solo female Black traveler. Last week, literally a week ago from
Exactly
1 week ago, I completed an expedition, which was a solo drive from London to Lagos, which makes me the first woman to ever do such a thing. So I'm excited. It's been a thrilling week, and I'm excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
A thrilling week indeed, with a whole lot of events back to back. From Sunday after the homecoming, the welcoming event at Unilag. I was there, so I saw all the camaraderies back to back. From the border and the entrance of Unilag Gate.
Yes.
And presence of people like Pa Milton. Milton or Newton?
Newton.
Pa Newton, Ambassador Opunimi Akekungbe, Honorable Abike Dabiri, and of course the Vice Chancellor of Unilag, and of course the commissioners that were present. Commissioner for Youth and Development, Commissioner for Tourism, and Commissioner for Lagosians in Diaspora. So all of those people, you know, and of course Daddy and Mommy, amongst many others, available to give you a resounding welcome. How did it feel?
I never expected it. It honestly was so heart welcoming, heart melting. Honestly, I was starting to, really connect with people from this journey. From, there was a welcome in Sierra Leone, there was one in Ghana, there was one in Benin, and I thought it would be something of such a size. A few people gathering together, just the joy of, me doing this thing. And like I pointed out, like from the border, I don't know where the waterworks and the tears started flowing from, because it was such a joyful welcome. Like it just felt so good, number one, to finish this thing despite all the obstacles that came with it, and
there were quite a number of such obstacles.
Man, was it a journey. I think I need a 1 month vacation to recover, but honestly, just the joy of just having all that excitement. Really, I wasn't expecting such. The Lagos State government showed out. They really did their thing. The University of Lagos did even more. Like, it was just incredible. But yeah, the people that came online, people flew in, just to welcome me, and I'm speechless. I really don't have words to describe. When I was leaving the UK, I saw my house go smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror, and the excitement level felt like 100. So I thought that was it. Like, I couldn't get, and honestly, it surpassed that. It was just pure joy, pure excitement, and just, yeah, really, really thrilled that happened.
Interesting. We'll come back to some of the memories of the journey and the homecoming itself. But can we get to know a bit about your background?
Okay.
Your upbringing, your childhood, and what role the church, Upper Room Baptist Church, played in that upbringing.
Absolutely. So I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. My parents were pastors in the Upper Room Baptist Church.
And are still pastors.
Are still pastors, many, many years, and still are. We had the parish in Alagbado. It started from, my dad's sitting room. So the church was always home. Home was church. There was no difference, we had the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was every day, kind of like just.
You cannot escape any.
You cannot, it was there. It was just in our home, which was just, in hindsight, realize how much of a foundation it formed in terms of the faith and think about God. It's just a dialect that we speak in our household. You can't separate them, so there was that, then obviously the church got bigger and bigger and bigger. I moved out of my dad's place to like a whole church, and and that has been a foundation. And I started, serving. I remember being in the children choir and the usher at one point briefly, and then back to the choir again. So that was always, that kind of service was always there. I was born, and then I spent 11 years of my life in Nigeria. Then I relocated to the UK, or migrated to the UK with my mom. My dad always came and visited, and for a period of time I was there too as well, but it was mostly based in Nigeria. And that's where I did my, primary school 6, my high school, college, university, PhD. All of that was done in the UK. So most of my life, I was saying the rest of the 19 years or so, was spent in the UK. And yeah.
Fantastic. So you mentioned the relocation was yourself and mommy.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you miss daddy in those years apart?
It was tough, but I felt like it was a sacrifice that needed to be done. A lot of family have their own different sacrifices that they made. He made it a lot easier in terms of his availability of how much time he came to visit and how much time we came to visit. So all the birthdays, all the Easters, all the Christmas, we ever missed it from each other. So there was definitely intentionality playing a key role in terms of, how can he remain and always will remain that father figure. Yes, there were moments where we felt his physical absence, but it was always there. His calls, his Zoom calls, Skype back in the days, checking in. And I think as we grew, even my lifestyle means I've been away from home. It's kind of my travel, so we've just maintained that kind of digital way of speaking. But I think it was just sacrifice that had to happen, and there was overcompensation, if anything, for that absence.
Interesting. He is a pastor, and of course, an outstanding one at that.
Yeah.
We all grew up knowing him as Inspire. There was a time he was more of a motivational speaker to us. How would you term the place of daddy?
Yes.
The father figure, the pastoral responsibility, and juggling that with the distance. How much did all of that impact? Affected your growing up?
I would say I had one of the best father example I could ever get or be provided with. His selflessness, the fact he chooses to give so much to society. I have so many adoptive siblings,
Yeah.
So I just come like, I'm your sister. I'm like, who are you?
Where were you born?
Exactly. Another child, another person he has taken on his wig, is paying for their school fees.
Many of them we know.
So many. Some have come to live in our home. Some of them are just like, they come for the weekend. But it really has poured so much, and he has taught me selflessness, like just giving so much, and that legacy, in his birthdays or anything, the outpour of love that he gets. I'm just like, I want to be a tenth of you one day. Like, I really just love how much he loves God, how much he speaks about God. If you want to talk one full day, he'll talk to you about it. So there was definitely that. Obviously, I wrote one time, and it got me a bit upset. We're talking about it, like, when I was 10, I was uprooted. I think I used that word, from my known thing to the UK. So sometimes parents make some decisions whereby I always feel parents always try to do the best things for their kids. The mannerism or how it's done might not be accurate or right or whatever, but at that moment, they're always trying to do the best. So yeah, that's kind of, in that moment, I've always known, and there's never been a moment that I would doubt that his intentions are pure and, wanting the best for me. Sometimes a bit too overprotective. Daddy's little girl.
All daddies,
they're the only girl. So there's definitely that extra protection. But it's always told me to just open my wings and fly and just go as far as I want to.
Interesting. So while growing up, what memory can you say stands out for you, that has contributed to the Pelumi today?
With my dad, or just
No,
generally?
no, just generally. What
Okay.
memory stands out for you while growing up to the woman you have grown into?
So my parents were very much, serving in church, working a 9 to 5 job. So they were very busy. They had a very busy schedule. They did make time for us, but there was also a lot of freedom in our childhood, whereby we were either with grandmas or a maid or something like that. So I felt like that freedom really sparked curiosity. When you just, and that's one thing I think adults lack, that freedom to play, just discover your imagination, go let your imagination go out. So I think I was definitely, that seed was planted in terms of, okay, you're free to come home at a certain time, but whatever you're doing, find adventure. And that, I feel like, has translated to the person I am today. Young Pelumi was very much into books, reading. So I suffer from something called dyslexia. I speak about it quite often. It's basically a learning difficulty or a reading disorder. So in my own private corners, I can read, like advanced books, but in school, I couldn't on public, in stages and stuff. I was taught over words, or just, words get jumbled up and stuff like that, which is a challenge that a lot of people do have and didn't even get just diagnosed in the first place. We'll go into the whole shebang of that. But yeah, definitely. Just so when I relocated to the UK, another thing that happened to me, or was a trigger point, was that obviously I had an accent. I was fresh off the boat, they used to call it,
black. African girl.
Exactly, the African girl. But quite mean, honestly, bullying, to be honest. Kids can be mean. So parents, please try and, speak more about kindness. At least that's something I'll be more intentional with my kids when I have one day. Just to be a bit more kinder. So I retreated, I found the library, and that's where I discovered travel books. And travel books, opened my world to just not London and Lagos, which is two things I was familiar, and maybe US. I was like, oh, there's Mexico, there's Japan, there's something like this. So I really started, again, another seed that were planted. I was just very active. I always, trying in university, not allowed university to go through me, but me go through the university, like be intentional about, joining extracurriculum and doing things like that. And that's how I joined, the Global Leaders Program, and that allowed me to go to India. And India was incredible. And I was like, oh, this is not the India we're reading about in the media. Like, what other place have they lied to me about? I want to go there and see myself.
Interesting.
So that was, again, another characteristic. So I've always been curious, and that's what, birthed my science, kind of like research and things like that. It's just that curiosity of helping humanity, but just seeing what more we can contribute to the world as a whole.